supporting Brian White? Yeah, bum.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Angel of Death. I'm back again with that East Coast wrestler, Brian White. How are you doing this evening?
Doing pretty good. Enjoying it.
Some of the fans here on this page may not know you as much, so I'd like to introduce them to you. How did you? What made you want to get into wrestling?
Oh man, that goes way back before I was knee-high to a grasshopper. I went to Greenville Memorial Auditorium and watched wrestling with my dad. And I seen Terry Funk wrestling there. I looked at my dad and said, I want to become a wrestler. And my dad always told me, if you put your mind to something, you become anything you want to be. And I watched wrestling all my life. I mean, watched the Golden Era, NWA, you know, everything that you could think of in Blue Sun. And got a little bit older. And my cousin had a backyard fed called BCW TNG. And I figured I'd give that a shot. So I did that for a good while. Actually had some pretty good matches in the backyard. The most memorable one I had was Light Bulb Massacre 2 at the SCBYWA WrestleFest show. I faced Malice, Asylum, and Rotman the Pimp, as they called him. But it was a pure bloodbath, a hard-fought war between me, myself, and the guys. But ultimately, in the end, I didn't win that one, but that gave me some recognition. And about, I'd say, 2011, that's when I went indie.
So, for you, how was the transition from backyard into the indie life?
Oh man, it was not easy, but considering that, you know, I had a reputation as being a yard card, and going into the business, you know, backyard wrestling is very, 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 very frowned upon. A lot of veteran workers don't respect it. They just say it's a bunch of guys, like they say with deathmatch wrestling, they're just getting gimmicks and smacking the shit out of each other. They don't tell stories and stuff like that, which could be further from the truth, because I've seen many backyard fans that's had great storylines, great storylines. But coming into the business, it wasn't easy because I couldn't get bookings. Nobody knew who the hell I was. I hadn't been properly trained at that time. I was pretty much self-trained, minus a few guys that had done indie that showed me a few little things here and there, but it wasn't enough to, per se, get into the business. But I still tried. I finally got in whenever the backyard fair that we was with, SCBYWA, became SCW Entertainment. And that's when I got my break into wrestling in early 2011. And my first match was against Mike Jones. And I believe it was, the Last Stand is what we call it. SCW is the Last Stand. And we were the first match on the card. And it was my first indie match, and I went over. Felt good. So, but that was how I got into it. And then as time progressed, people started noticing who SCW was, and the guy that was the owner of the company at the time, he was friends with a man named Rex Rumble. And not many people know who he is. Some do, some don't. They call him a carny promoter, whatever. Rex Rumble and I linked up, and he really gave me a lot of opportunities that most people weren't giving me, and for that I have tremendous respect for him. I appreciate that. But I won my first United States championship with him, so I have a special place in my heart for him and his organization.
Now, I am sprinkling in these little photos here. I'm sorry if they are in, incorrect order, but I'm definitely putting them in here. So, early on in your career, what would you say was the hardest step to take? Like, did you ever have that point where you were like, I don't know if I can do this?
Actually, the hardest part was just, swallowing my pride and getting trained, properly trained. So I broke down, put some money in, and got trained by a couple of legends along the way. I've been blessed, I will say that, not to name drop, but I've been on the likes of Ric Flair, Manny Fernandez, Terry Funk, George South, Ricky Morton, Natalia. I've been around a bunch of people, in the business, and I picked their brains, and they have taught me a lot of. Actually trained with Leilani Kai early, I'd say probably 2013 in my career. I trained with Leilani Kai. And if you don't know who that is, she was in first WrestleMania. She was in the WWF for a long time in the women's division. But the time that I wanted to call it quits was probably, I'm going to say 2014. I was at a promotion called American Pro Wrestling, and me and a guy there had some legit heat in the backstage area, and we had heat outside because I refused to work him. I told everybody he was an unsafe worker, unprofessional, and I wasn't going to put myself in the ring with him. Well, that night we had a battle royal, and somehow he wound up getting a hold of me in the corner, and he was just lighting me up. He was just chopping me. He's like, "Why don't you trust me, Brian?" And he chopped me. He said, "Why don't you like me, Brian?" He chopped me. I mean, he led me up to where I was bleeding bad on my chest, and he bruised my chest for weeks afterwards. But I ultimately broke kayfabe and took my mask off, ran out, jumped out of the ring, and I told him, "You're a fucking piece of shit," and walked away and went away from wrestling for probably about, I'd say, at least 3 months. And that was probably the hardest pill I ever had to swallow there. It was that I was wrong for talking shit about the guy, because we might become best friends actually now. But that was one of the hardest lessons I had to learn. I wanted to quit then.
Now I know this is actually wrestling related, but you were actually in a severe accident that almost took your life. How did that change everything to do with wrestling? And go ahead and explain that accident too to the fans.
Well, at the time, I had taken a little break from wrestling, and I was doing traffic control. We were on the Interstate 85 northbound at exit 51. I remember everything like it was yesterday, and we had a work zone set up, and the people we were working with, they said, "Hold up before you pick up the work zone. We got some equipment still in the zone." So we said, okay, we parked on the side, waiting on them. And the parts I really can't remember, I just remember hearing the Jake brake of the truck and the screw, woo, 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 and it just a loud boom. And that's the last time I remember that I tried to get up, and when I did, my leg literally went around like a clock and folded up under me. And the truck driver wound up tearing my tibia and fibia in my left leg, and that put me out of wrestling for 2 years, and it really, since I've been back, it's really one of the things I watch closely. Like when I come off the top rope, I'm very careful with that. I tell workers that, hey, I need you to watch that leg. It's a very tender spot, But that was eye-opening for me. If I didn't have my wife, I don't think I'd ever would have made it through that. She's my guardian angel. But, that was a really hard time in my life. I remember that very, very well.
I was the same way, actually, when I broke my leg and fractured my hip. Like, when I came back, which was way too early, Kevin Brandon, I was scared to do the bumps and take the hits like that. Hell, I wore a padding under my gear on my hip, which, if you're going to get hurt, you're going to get hurt. But hell, I tried to protect it as much as I could during that time, and which that was around the Carnage Cup 8 time. But another good question for you, knowing that you're a little bit older, was you WCW or WWF?
I was WWF going there.
So that's the same for me.
And then here's the funny thing about it. I mean, I did watch WCW from time to time, but WWF was the top dog at the time. But as I broke into the business, I learned that WCW had more wrestlers that could tell a good story. You know what I mean? I noticed the difference from them. WWF was more showmanship, sports entertainment, which WCW had its share of that, but it also had pure wrestlers. Arn Anderson, Ole and Tony Blanchard, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Stunning Steve Austin, Brian Pillman. These are just some of the names that I learned a lot just by studying footage of them. I mean, WWF going there definitely was my pick.
I was definitely WWF, and of course I was ECW. I didn't know ECW until my dad introduced me to it, and then I'm pretty sure by the end of that he regretted that. But when
Yeah, we couldn't get ECW around here unless it was like 1 or 2 in the morning, and the cable networks would show up very, very late.
it was 1 o'clock here in Alabama when it would come on.
Yeah, I mean the classic ECW is just what it is. The classics. I mean, there'll never be another ECW like it. I hate that they signed out to WWE the way they did, because when I did the original One Night Stand for WWE, it was just on shits in my opinion. It was nothing like the ECW of my childhood. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, it was pure trash. So after your the accident, you came back. What was your mindset? Like, what was your goals?
My goal was just to prove that I still belong in the world of wrestling. I've been behind the scenes off and on. I've been in this business for 11 years now, and I was just trying to prove that I deserve to be here. Everybody's just like, oh. And I always talk about my glory days when I was injured. I tell people, I was a wrestler, I did this, I did that. And they're like, yeah, okay, cool. And when you come back, everybody's like, oh, he's just a wannabe, has been, he ain't got it no more. He's shook with it, which I feel like I bring more to the table than that. I'm a good promoter for any company I work for or anything. I was behind the scenes, I was a good booker. I guess, like I said, my biggest thing is to prove that I belong here. That's my biggest thing.
Now, a little group on Facebook that's actually got pretty decent now is the Outlaw Mud Show group, which I completely support. It's to me, it's one of the best and more friendly groups to be on. But before that, there was a little bit more of a toxic group that you were part of, and it was the is it called the MDKC Club?
The MDKC, yeah. Them guys over there, man, they're a piece of work. I'm an admin for the Outlaw Mud Show Wrestling Group. I am one of them, along with Joe Callis and James Brown. Shout out to you guys. But the MDKC group, not even give the guy the glory. I'm not even going to say his name, but he knows who he is. He's very egotistical. Loves to put people down and stuff like that. And I'm not about that. I'm not. I had my feel that whenever I started a thing with interviews, and actually the first interview for them was Alex Colon, right when he got back from Japan. And I did the interview, and they pretty much took the idea from me and ran and called it their own. And when I complained about it, pretty much I got kicked out of the group and was told, I'm a liar and stuff like that. So Joe Callis had a group called I think it was Midwest Deathmatch or something like that, whatever. Then we changed it to Outlaw Mud Show, and I became an admin on that. And it's a great place for anybody who loves deathmatch wrestling. We got some good quality content, man. John, you can verify that yourself. We got good stuff. So you get a chance, check it out on Facebook, Outlaw Mud Show Wrestling Group.
And if you didn't notice last night, there was actually a sign at WWE SmackDown that said Outlaw Mud Show. Did you see that?
I briefly seen it. I wasn't sure. I don't have a way to rewind it, but I'll probably go back and check it on YouTube just to be sure. But I did see that. Yes, that was pretty cool. We're getting headway. That's for damn sure.
So yeah, that was there. I agree with you. I've had the issues with that other group as well. I'm banned from it. So.
Me too.
And what I was, this is what I was told is that after I was banned from it, my YouTube page, which is what this interview will be on, would go to shits, and I would lose all my views. And that sure in the hell ain't happened.
I'm about to say, I've been seeing you share on social media how your ratings and views are going up every freaking week. It's just growing. So that can also be because you're the number one troll.
I do like to troll, but I like to advertise, and it pays off in the end. I think it was maybe 2 months ago, we actually hit 2 million views in 1 month, which is the highest the channel has ever been.
Yeah, you got some great content on that. So anybody want a history lesson in the Side Legacy, you really need to watch that because this man I'm talking to and Spider, they had some hellacious matches. I mean, and there's a lot of great behind the scenes footage that you don't see on DVDs or on pay-per-views or whatever when you buy them. Whatever. There's some content that you can't see anywhere else. So I definitely recommend John's page.
And I mean, like, what me and Spider did, what we did is something that, like, a keyboard warrior would never be able to do.
No, wait a minute. What makes you say keyboard warrior? See, that sounds oddly familiar.
Well, some people get more notoriety from the keyboard, and that's how they, get places.
Or some people get notoriety from kicking a legend's ass in his own game. In front of his own crowd, in front of his own home state. That's just what I know.
Well, man, I don't know what you're saying. I really don't follow your North Carolina career.
No, wait. Let's get this straight. I am not from North Carolina. I am from South Carolina. Born and bred, proud of it. South Carolina. The real Carolina. Don't get it twisted, John.
Well, I was just bringing it up. I know the Tar Heels play today.
Oh, well, again, see, here we go again. I'm trying to be reasonable with you here now, all right? We're South Carolina. Let's just go on next question or whatever.
Okay, so here in Alabama, where the national title is home, all I'm saying is that some people get cheap victories, and, let me just say this. Somebody basically called you Christian Cross version 2.
Wow. Okay. Must have been some washed up piece of trash that can't hack it no more, probably.
No, he's pretty good. I mean, I enjoy his work. He's a scholar, a gentleman, and, he's a really good guy, if you ask me.
Okay, well,
so,
he's like assholes, everybody got one, but they all stink unless it's not,
So, all I'm saying is, you keyboarded your way into Deep South, and...
Whoa, I didn't keyboard my... Whoa, no. Let's get this straight. You called me out at IWA Deep South show. I was there to support Kevin, my friend, one of my close friends in the business. And you called me out, remember? There's video footage of it everywhere. So you called me out and thinking that I was just going to back down and just take it on the job. Well, I'm just like any other wrestler. I'm not stupid. I have gear in my bag, in my bags, in my car, waiting on me if I go to a show. You never go to a show without your gear, regardless if you're on the car tonight, because you never know what can happen. Cards subject to change. So, if I recall, you called me out. I didn't do nothing. I just came to support my friend.
So what you're saying is you're really close friends with Kevin, and that's pretty much what got you on the show.
No, what got me on the show is you talking smack to me, and you said that I had been nothing but a keyboard warrior to you. When you, as a matter of fact, what started my whole problem with you was, I was doing an interview with James Graham in the Outlaw Mud Show group, and you come in and you try to make a joke of it. And he was doing pretty much the same thing you're doing. He was just asking me questions, and I was trying to answer them. And you come in, you chime on me, and then somehow you're getting up onto your ass, see your ugly face, and you're sitting there just being disrespectful. So disrespectful, and I've given you nothing but respect before that, you know? And that pissed me off. I don't understand why you did. I still don't understand why you did to this day, and I don't care. Because the fact of the matter is, even though you say Kevin got me out, I fought you at IWA Deep South Resurrection, and I beat you. 1, 2, 3. I beat you, old man. I beat you. You're washed up now. You're hurt. You can't hang no more. I beat you at your own game. So just face that. That's the facts.
I offered you a rematch, and you declined. Is there a reason?
When did you offer me a rematch?
When did I offer?
Yeah.
I sent you a message, and you were like, and I got this. I got the screenshots to prove it, ladies and gentlemen. I sent him a message, and I was like, Mr. Brian, I would like to request a rematch, and his reply was, Mr. Rare, I don't know if I could do it again. I'm sorry. I humbly decline. And that was the end of the conversation.
That's outrageous. No. See, I told you before, just like I said after I beat you, I've got bigger fish to fry in IWA Deep South now. I'm not worried about you. You're old. You're old news. You know what I'm saying? Just step to the side, stay behind scenes, be a ring announcer and all that. That's what you need to do. It's safer for you that way, because getting back in the ring with me could be hazardous to your health.
I am actually probably one of the best ring announcers that Deep South has, to put that out there. But, you know, this is what I think. Your biggest win is probably like my second to biggest loss. So, if you put that in motion, what do you get?
You get... What do you get there, John? What do you get? Let's hear from the brainiac himself. What do you get, John?
I still have the titles, and I still get the main event. And you're going after bigger fish. And the truth is, if I actually talked to your friend, Kevin Brandon, you wouldn't even be back.
Okay, that remains to be seen. And you know what? If you put them titles up online like I told you to, and like I asked Kevin to ask you to do at IWA, you wouldn't be champion right now. I would be. I'd be carrying all the gold and be looking all pretty as I am.
You know what? I'm sick of you, and I actually hate white people. And you're the whitest of them all.
You. I don't even know why. See, I was trying to be nice about this. I was just trying to be a good person and trying to help our friend with his channel and all that. But you know what? I can't even call you a friend. You're just, like I said, and I mean the straight shoot. You're a piece of trash. You're a piece of Alabama white trailer trash that will never be anything ever again. Spider is the only reason you got to where you're at. He's the only reason you got any notoriety. He's the only reason. So what you need to do is sit your washed up ass in the back, pack my gear when I'm done, and wash it like you're supposed to do, like a good boy.
So you want me to sit in the back and do commentary? That's not even feasible.
Your commentary is shit. I would rather listen to Chewy, okay? I would rather hear Red Solo Cup do commentary than you, okay? Mr. Crystal can do goddamn commentary better than you.
Bullshit. Mr. Crystal can't do anything better.
Well, but I have to disagree. I believe he could do that way better than you.
I wanted to see Mr. Crystal beat your ass, and that is crystal clear, and it didn't happen. Thanks, Mr. Crystal.
Well, if you got bitch in your blood, I mean, you know, that's the definition of a keyboard warrior, the ones that know to talk shit, and then when you see them face to face, they have nothing to say to try to, I was just playing.
You know what? He was busy. He was busy, and that's why it didn't happen.
Okay. Well, that remains to be seen. You seem like I must have touched a button on what I do. Rub you wrong there, Mr. Ware?
You know what? This interview is finite, and if you don't know what that is, look it up. Good Lord, I know how North Carolina Tar Heels are, but finite. Look it up. Finite. The interview is finite. I've had enough of it. I know the viewers are enjoying me. They're not enjoying you. The views come from me, not for you.
Yeah, I made you, John. I made you now.
I thought you said Spire made me. I thought you said Spire made me.
I'm the reason you're relevant again. I'm the reason you are. Don't forget that.
You know what? Over. Hang up. Okay. Can you hang up? Thank you. My Lord. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Angel of Death. And we're done here.